set up for rolling tube, but I'll swap it over to these flat dies. Enough for me. Now finished up both sides of the front frame horns. Welcome back to the channel. A lot of exciting things going on. I've got first inspection and engineering for TAC in about a month's time. So as you can see, chassis all pulled apart, stuff all over the shed. Still a few more jobs to go. Hopefully the audio on these are now better. I decided that I wasn't happy enough last video, so I've invested in some wireless mics. So hopefully everything sounds a bit better and smoother. As always, thanks for the support and don't forget to like and subscribe. List of jobs on the board here that I need to finish off before inspection. To finish off the front bar, crop these frame horns and taper them into the bar width. So there's actually about 5 mil either side. So I'll cut them out and trim them down to match the 1 5/8 I've got. All this is looking good. A couple of braces from the rear forelink back here. Finish off these anti-roll bar plates. Finish off welding these, a few more gussets. Finish off welding the strut mounts out, both sides. And that's basically it. So it's not too bad. Well, I'll plate all these in, finish off all that. And yeah, not a whole lot to go. So shouldn't be too bad. I got a week or two to work on it. So we should be able to knock this out pretty good. I'll try and clear all the chassis and the bare metal in some easy FOSS so it stays rust free once I've done all the welding on it. Got the front bar, spreader bar here that I've made up. Just going to go through and TIG around these today, so we'll probably just fusion weld them. The gaps are pretty good. There's basically no gap at all, so they're just corner to corner. So we might just run around with a bit of pulse and fusion weld them out. I'll show you a bit of welding action. So that was filmed in real time. You can see how the pulse just basically fuses it together every pulse cycle. Chick's coming for a visit. Workshop inspector. You're just gonna lay there, mate. I'm just gonna lay there. Here's our front spreader bar after I fused the decorative hole pieces through it. Just on that, you would only ever fuse something that's not super structural. So this still got plenty of meat left in the tube and it's not really structural at all, so there's no need to really add any filler to it. You can see the gap between the frame horns. So this is 1 5/8 and there's probably 10 mil gap in there. My original plan was to taper this down to match, but I've kind of gone away from that now. I'm actually going to cover the front, so I'll roll a little piece up, cover the front here, and then I'll centralize this and weld it behind it. I thought it was going to get too skinny and sort of lose the front wide profile that I wanted. So I'll make our template and then I'll use this little ring roller here. This was set up for rolling tube, but I'll swap it over to these flat dies with a knurl on them and roll that little front curve. Never seen or used a set of ring rollers or pyramid rollers. Basically the bottom two drive when you crank the handle, and you can adjust the top one to come down and pinch, so the more pressure the tighter the radius is going to be. So these dies here I rolled this 3/8 chromoly ring out of using these ones, so it turned out nice. This is quite a simple, just a cheapy handle setup. Quite easy to do a few little bits and pieces on. So we marked our piece about 37mm wide, just about to cut that off with the grinder, and then we'll bang it in the pyramid roller to match the template. So we've got our tempo to the horn here, workpiece here. Basically we only want to use this section where the curve is. So our curve roughly needs to be between these two marks. So we'll load that up and start it basically where I put that first mark. Just put a little bit of tension on it and start drawing it through to the rollers at that second mark, and just keep adding the tension. And you can see it bends pretty effortless. It's only 3mm. There's a lot of different ways to do this same sort of thing. I'm just doing it this way to show you that you can do it with a tool, or you can do it by hand, but this will give us a bit more precision. You could bend it around something in the vise, do all sorts of things. You could probably press it around a tube. But I already had this tool, so might as well use it. So we'll see how that looks. If we bring this over and compare it to our template, pretty close. So you can see those two marks that I first marked that we were following, they roughly ended up where we needed them to be. So if we take this over to the chassis, bit hard to see, but once we line it up with the outer rails, the gap's pretty much perfect. I've gone ahead and made two of these now, perfect. You can see there is a bit of knurling on the end here, so we'll sand that out on the linisher, smooth them off. Pretty easy to just swap belts over in this setup. Good enough for me. Scotch-Brite belts are a great way to get a real clean finish for like a bare steel setup, so I'm a real big fan of them. Just trimmed the frame rail section back about 3mm to where I wanted it. So now when we fit our piece in there, it'll end perfectly at the top and the bottom on the rail. So I'll just clean them up and we'll cut this piece and get it ready to put in. Cut our new horn piece, and you can see it's gonna fit pretty nice. A bit hard to hold, but the gap's pretty good. so I'll tick these up. They should be perfect. Probably help if I turn the gas on. Probably try that again now. Fresh tungsten. Cleaned up that mess from no gas. Much better. I've now finished up both sides of the front frame horns. Spreader bars tacked in there and ready to make up our boxing plates to go around the bar and the boss there for the radiator support. Need to make them for both sides and then ready to weld it out. Front end should be complete. Duke's joined us for a bit of arts and craft making the template. Roughly drawn out the template here of what we need for one side, so we'll cut this out and see how close it fits. Got the template set in there now, so this will give us our corner to corner on the frame rails and good penetration there. Then we'll run a full fillet around both the tubes and the supports. What do you reckon, mate? Now that we got our two templates sitting in there nice, we'll transfer those across to our steel plate and poke a couple of holes in each one, fit them back up. Transfer the templates across to the steel. We'll probably cut these out and keep them square for now, just to make it easier to put them into the mill and use the hole saw to cut the holes out of them. Just a bit easier to grab the workpiece. Just got to clamp down in the mill for a bit of ease. I already had this set up with a vise on it, so it's just easier. Just going to slap these holes through it with the hole saw. Holes have been cut, linished up, cleaned it off on the Scotch-Brite belt, sanded it up. See how it fits up. Fits up quite nice, so it gives us our corner to corner here penetration, and we'll run a bead around here, looks good. Got our plates here, flip these over and hit them with a bit of weld through copper primer for the inside, just to try and minimise the amount of rust in there over its lifetime, so hopefully it lasts a good 100 years. We'll do the same inside the chassis rail where it's back to bare steel. I just taped off what I need to weld on the outside. Plates are all clamped in there, ready to go, so we'll go around and tack them into place. Plates now tacked into place, ready to weld out. So like I said before, we'll just continue to MIG the perimeter like I've done with the rest of the chassis, and then we'll TIG around these pipes. See, I got a good amount of heat into it, got it sat up on its side. See, I ran some nice juicy MIG welds along there. Nice and steady, good amount of heat. So we'll TIG the rest of it out. All finished up now, I just hit it with a wire brush and a bit of Scotch-Brite. Come up nice and tidy, front bar's all done, front horns are all done. So that's pretty much it for the front section. So ticked a couple of things off our list. Front bar, frame horns. A few things to go. Still got a couple of weeks before inspection, so it should be all good. If you didn't already know, the welds have to be still shown and raw for inspection and part of the TAC. So that's why it's a raw finish at the moment. So this will go up all bare steel. That's going to be it for this episode. Got a few jobs ticked off on the front there, so still a couple more to go before inspection, but still a bit of time to work on it, so it should be fine. Like always, appreciate the support, and don't forget to share it to your mates. Like, subscribe, comment, etc. All the normal things I ask you to do. Cheers.